Okay. Theories and methods of group counseling. We meet on every Thursday for the next 8 weeks, 6 to 9. Um, okay, this course will examine group purpose, membership, stages, and process. That's my favorite part of it is the stages and the process, including the leader's role and the leader's competencies in leading a group. Okay. So you'll have a leader, you'll have a co-leader, and how they work together is so important. And we'll go through, the dynamics of being a leader and a co-leader and things like that too. So emphasis is placed on a small group experience and its application, both professionally and in a local church context. So if you think about groups, you can think about maybe one extra person to 8 to 10. The sizes of groups, the most productive ones are about 8 to 10. Too many people. We'll talk about the dynamics of too many people in a group and not enough, things like that too. But then you can think of other groups like maybe you have AA or something like that, where maybe the groups are very large and you have maybe a speaker and maybe somebody's doing psychoeducation and things like that too. So we'll go through all of those things. What do the dynamics look like within these groups? Okay. And there's a lot of these things in here you'll be able to read yourself. So I'm just kind of go, what about the objectives? You guys can kind of read through those things. Okay, so requirements of the class, pay attention to due dates in the assignments. It's an 8 week class, so I mean, it seems like there's going to be something due all the time, right? So just pay attention to the due dates and everything too. So, okay. So this is a class that's heavy in participation. So attendance and participation are really important in this class, right? Because you're going to be doing group counseling. Okay, so students are expected to attend class lectures and schedule as scheduled and engage in discussion of presented topics each week via Zoom that we will be utilizing. Students will also be graded on their participation in weekly group counseling meetings in class. So personal involvement during class time is an essential element of active learning, and students will be graded accordingly to your participation and attendance and so on. So, the first paper is called Group Participation. Okay, Group Participation paper. And students will participate in and have the opportunity to lead and co-lead. Uh, so I did change that, and I changed it a little bit ago. A lot of times I like, to have you lead and co-lead, but so I have enlisted some previous students. One is a student from another university, but one's a previous student from Calvary. And so they'll be leading and co-leading. And so you'll get to participate. And I think it's just a lot better than putting that pressure on you. Now, if we had a 16-week course, it'd be easier for you guys to all to lead and co-lead and things like that too. But I just think it's too much pressure for you to, to put that responsibility on you uh, in such a short time. So we've enlisted a leader and a co-leader. So students will be responsible. Well, no, okay, scratch that part. During the course of the class, the student is to write a 4-page paper regarding their observation of this group that you're in, this group in class. Students will be graded 50% on the written assignment and 50% on, it says leading and co-leading, but it'd be 50% on your participation. Okay, what that looks like. Okay, so overall observations of the group. This is what you'll be writing about. How the lectures and readings of the class related to how you experience the group. So as we start off, you'll be seeing the different stages storming, forming, norming, as that goes along, and that'll make more sense to you later. But you'll see how those stages are developed. So how did what you learned in class, how did that translate into what you saw in your group? So what was your experience of the group? So not leading, but just participating. Okay, so participating in the group. How did your experience of the different stages of group compare to what you learned from the lectures in the textbook? Okay. And any other details that were observable from your group experience. Okay. So that's the first part, the participation in your paper. And then the next is a group observation portion of it. Students will be expected to observe a self-help group session. So this could be anything, that's group counseling wise. I mean, some people would pick an AA meeting, or maybe there's a church kind of group that you have, maybe divorce care, grief share, some other type of at our church we have this thing called regeneration, which is a 12-step Christ-centered uh, a recovery group. And it's not just like on drugs and alcohol, it's on recovery from sin. What type of sin is in your life? How are you recovering from that? So that'd be one that you could, do, or several that you could do. And you provide a 4-page paper regarding their reactions and summary of the sessions that you attended. So if you attended one, um, what was it like? How did the leader operate? So requirements of the paper will be, and you could put it in subjects, in your paper. What type of group was it? Who was the group leader? What were your observations of the group? What were your observations of the group leader? How did they handle it? Were they good group leaders? Were they not so good? Whatever you think. Discuss your perspectives of the benefits gained by the members of the group. So if you were to come to a group that met weekly, what would you gain out of it? What did you see the other members gaining out of it? What were some of the drawbacks you could see of attending this group? And it could be, uh, Felicia, did,
Are you okay for this observation if the group is virtual?
yeah, yeah, I think
Okay,
that'd be
okay,
fine. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be fine.
okay.
Yeah, as long as there's a leader and you can see other members. Yeah, that'd be great. Wonder how you, okay, there we go. I don't know how your hand goes down. Maybe you know how to do that. Okay, so to discuss your perspective of the benefits gained by the members, what were some of the drawbacks? How would you improve this group? So what would be things that you would do that would improve this group? Okay, so those are the first two. Reading assignment, and there's a final exam, right? So the final exam is out of the book, and it is open book. There you go, open book test. So we'll give you that at some point. And then here's where I love this part of it is the group development project and presentation. So we'll do that the last night, do the presentations on the last night. So students will create and develop a self-help group with the potential of applying it to their internship site or their ministries and present the group development idea to the class. The project will ask students to think through and articulate all the necessary elements in preparing to run their own group. Papers will be due before the last class of presentations will be giving during the last class. Okay, so I think I've got, so we'll talk more about that as time goes on, and I'll give you more instructions on that. But generally, it's like, how do I start a group? Now, I think there's a section, and I'll have to find that in the book, where it helps you. to develop that. So that'll be something that you can use from the book. So we'll get all of that information for you coming up. Okay, does that sound good? Yeah, it'll be a fun part. Okay, let me give you an example. So one person start a group for teenage girls, okay, and to develop their self-esteem. And so it was like, okay, here's week one, here's what we're going to do, here's week two, week three, and it's like an 8 week deal. So 8 weeks, what we were going to do each week, what they were going to gain out of it, and all that stuff too. So another one was a marriage counseling class for uh, individuals, married individuals, and it was based on Gottman's work. Um, so it was really good too. So just, have fun with it, be creative, all that stuff, and hopefully you'll be able to use it at your church or, you know, outside of your church, in your own private practice or whatever. So, okay, well, look at that. Really, you can read the list, so the rest of it. So, any questions on those assignments? Pretty straightforward, and we'll give you more information on that last one. So, but pretty straightforward. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, so let's get into PowerPoint here. So we'll go along a little bit. We'll take breaks and all of that stuff too. So generally, like on a 3 hour class, you'd have a half-hour break in the middle of it. So if we forego that and we can get done a half-hour earlier, would that be okay with you guys? Hang on 1 second. Would that be okay with y'all? Yeah, because I mean, 8:30, start heading into bedtime. Maybe not for Macy. But for me, Macy, I'm telling you, 8:30 might start yawning a little bit. Okay. Okay, can y'all see the presentation? Okay, let me put it into view. Okay, we kind of had the introduction to the book. Did everybody get the book? Group's book? Yeah, I think it's a pretty good book. So they are definitely the people that people turn to on what groups are. So I am gonna put you down here. Okay, so what is a group? Okay, what types of, this is what we're gonna learn. What is a group? What types of groups? The multicultural group considerations and working with diversity in groups, group therapeutic factors in what members should be experiencing in these groups, if everything's done right. What are the group leader functions and what group leaders do? And then we'll even take a look at a little bit of a group demonstration from a video that they do a pretty good job in it. So let me open this up to you guys. What groups are you a part of? Think about what kind of groups you're a part of. Let's state some of the obvious ones. Family, that's a group, right? Church, that's a group. School, this class, all of that, that's a group, right? So think about some groups that you're a part of and why you're a part of them. So you're a big why for your group here at school in this university is you're here to learn from each other or with each other, right? And from each other as well. But We're part of a group because we care, we want to change other people's lives, and we want our own lives to be changing during this time. So we become group members the instant we are born. Many, many, many different groups we're a part of. So think about when you do become parts of groups, what's my function within each one of these groups? Because I'm gonna have different functions. I'm gonna have different roles. In a family, I have a different role. As a student, I have a different role. So, and different functions. Um, so how do I know how to change from group to group to group, right? Because I might not have the same role in every one of them, right? So me at our counseling center, I'm the director of it. And so everybody looks to me to create change in the counseling center, okay? But in church, I'm not the lead pastor. I'm not, this. So I get to kind of sit back in that aspect of it and learn and absorb from, what God has for me in that moment. Okay. So what are things that we do within our groups? Okay. Because we're human over time, we join many groups. Okay. Friendship groups, professional groups, interest groups, educational groups, and so on. Okay. So why group counseling? Okay. Well-run groups can provide members with a place to give and receive feedback. This is so important. So the part about sitting in counseling in a counseling group, it's not all about just everybody having a conversation and everything too. There's structure to it. And with this structure, we want the best to come out of it too. So that therapeutic alliance, we're going to be building that. But we want all this therapy to happen so that people can change. And not everybody changes at the same pace. Some people may not change at all, right? Maybe it's not their time. There's that change process that people go through. Okay. So it's a place for people to gain insight into their own personal dynamics. That's called emotional intelligence, too. How does what I do affect others? So, another thing I want you to kind of remember within groups, it is a smaller picture of the bigger world. So we want to create an environment in this smaller group that you're in that's a bigger picture of the world outside. And what I mean by that is we want to practice things within a group so that we're prepared for things outside of this group in the world, or we can try it in a smaller, safer area and try it outside, and hopefully we've gained that esteem or confidence and so on to be able to approach things in a different way. We want to also address aspects of individuals' lives that they would like to change. Okay. Individuals are wounded in relationships and can heal in relationships. So you've seen that. You've probably been wounded in relationships yourself, but you can also heal, especially, a relationship like marriage and things like that too. We can get wounded in marriage, but also hopefully it's one that we can really heal. And the faster we heal in it, the better, right? Oftentimes, however, the people who have wounded us are not the people with whom we heal. So that means sometimes, even in marriage, we get wounded, but maybe we can go to a counselor and figure things out about ourselves, why we are the way we are, our attachment, what our needs are, things like that too, and be able to learn more about ourselves so that when we do get back into whatever situation we're in, we can be different in it. Group counseling provides a powerful place for healing. Participants can rewrite old scripts. That's what I love. Rewriting old scripts that no longer serve them and practice new ways of being in a relationship with others. No longer serve them in new relationships. So, effective group leaders provide a safe place that encourages members to participate fully and to take risks. That's when you know you're in the working stage, is when you're able to provide that safe place and people are taking that chance. They're being vulnerable and it's a safe place for them to do so. So when one person, maybe you see one person taking a risk and then you see multiple people doing that. That's when you know you're in a working stage. We'll get into those things. So why groups continued? It is through interpersonal dynamics that we are comforted, supported, challenged, and injured. We all have a need to belong, and groups give members a chance to be a window to Christ's love and to model that love. So in group, we can accomplish tasks, find support, and learn about ourselves and others and be challenged to grow. Okay? So I love this here, Hebrews 10:24. We must also consider how to encourage each other to show love and to do good things. I mean, it says group right there in a nutshell. Encourage each other, show love, and do good things. We should not stop gathering together with other believers as some do or some are doing. Instead, we must continue to encourage each other even more as we see the day of the Lord coming. I love that. Okay. So groups are an excellent treatment choice towards helping people change. Individual counseling is great. Group counseling is great. Sometimes I look at, at our church, we have regeneration, and within regeneration, they do kind of this small um, like a sermon type thing. And then they break into these groups, and it's the same groups every week. So, people, you're hopefully have created that safe place, but people know each other. Um, but it's but it's within that group where people can take those chances and be vulnerable, but where others can encourage them, and be encouraged. They can encourage and be encouraged. So whenever it's your time to be encouraged, people notice and so on. So I love this part. Groups provide a natural laboratory and a sense of community, demonstrating to people that they are not alone. Natural laboratory, right? Smaller picture of the larger world right in front of us, okay? Members' interpersonal difficulties get played out in a group setting. So that's where you can do like role playing, or you could do, all kinds of different types of counseling in that will help people to grow. So a variety of things. Okay. Participants have the opportunity to try out different strategies for resolving their long-term problems. And groups are a small sample of our society. Just that's, I'm going to keep driving that point home. This says it in a different way. Groups are a small sample of our society and therefore represent how relationships outside of the group see and experience us as people. Okay. So the group process, all the elements that are basic to the unfolding of the group from beginning to end. Okay. So the examples that we'll go through are group norms. Do you guys understand? So group norms are what's normal in a group, what are the rules, regulations, things like that. How groups generate trust and cohesion. Nothing more powerful than have a cohesive group where people feel safe enough to try and do anything, right? Conflict and reluctance, intermember feedback, healing forces within the group, stages of group development. So we'll go through those examples. So I want to go through like an overview of the different types of groups, right? So the first type that was in your book would be task group, okay? So a task group, it aims to foster accomplishing identified work goals, and these are common in the community. So you'll hear maybe on the news they initiated a task force or a task group to accomplish something within the city, okay? So that's the type of group, okay? So they're common in community, business, and educational settings. So what they're trying to do is focus on the focus of this type of group is to improve processes or identify work goals of a group. What can we improve upon? Okay. Both leaders and participants of the task group tend to want to get down to business quickly. Here we don't care about feelings. We don't care about emotions. We don't care about, we want to accomplish something. So it's almost like, if you're sitting in counseling and solution focus. So solution focus is, okay, here's the problem, here's the solution to it. Let's go do it. Here's the tips and tricks and stuff to do it. Okay. So that's kind of what this looks like. So both leaders and participants of the task group tend to want to get down to business. Leaders must help the group stay focused. Now, that's in every group. That's the where the leader, that's what their role is, to help people stay focused on the task at hand. Because man, once you start losing the group and they go off on tangents and stuff like that, you lose the interest of many. Okay, and you're not accomplishing anything. So leaders must help the group stay focused. Primary importance is to foster relationships and to meet the group goals. So the leaders in these types of groups have a short time to get everybody on the same page, cast that vision, and everybody move towards the same direction. Okay? Short time frame and window to do that type of thing. So that's a task group, okay? Psychoeducational groups are ones, just like what it kind of says is, we're here to learn something. It's like what we're doing right now. It's me giving you a lot of information dump on you, right? So that's what a psychoeducational group does. Okay. So let's take a look at it. It aims to provide members with targeted education on a variety of psychological issues or informational deficits. Okay. So the group deals with imparting, discussing, and integrating factual information. Okay, here's the issue, and here's the information on it. We're going to discuss through it, but it's really me giving you a lot of information and education. Okay, it's designed to build skills to change behavior or prevent behaviors by planned skill building exercises. So, example of that would be substance use prevention. So, so you may have a group where they come in and people are abusing substances, right? So how do you, as a person, quit uh, doing, smoking marijuana or cocaine or whatever it is, whatever the drug of choice is, or drugs? Here's how you can go about and doing it, and here's why you should do it. Here's why, how, and all of those things that it should answer, right? Domestic violence, trauma survivors, weight loss. So a lot of those groups where it's you learning something, how to do something better, how to better yourself. This type of group presents structured, group-specific content, often taught using videotapes, audio cassette, or lectures. Okay. That's less group participation, more one person giving you information. Okay. Then we have counseling groups. So those aim at preventative and educational purposes, utilizing methods of interactive feedback within a here and now type framework. Meaning we are going to get down to business on counseling. So at first, as we go through the stage as a group, you'll see the leader is more involved. But as time goes on and you get towards a working stage where the members are doing the work, the leader kind of fades out. And that's where you want to be, is where the leader is doing less and the participants are doing more. So what that looks like, career, education, personal, social, and developmental concerns are addressed. And it differs from psychotherapy in that it is not aimed at major personality changes, but specific short-term issues. For example, coping skills for trauma, divorce, grief, increasing self-esteem, things like that too. Whereas the psycho, well, we'll get through that. I won't go. We'll get to psychotherapy, what that means. So generally, it lasts a short period of time. So they'll generally last 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks tops. Okay. Leader's job is to help members see alternatives to their modes of behavior and to challenge members to translate their, sorry, this is in my way, insights into action plans for change. So that is a counseling group. We're counseling um, each other, kind of, okay? So now the psychotherapy group, it's the on the opposite end, okay? It aims at remediation of in-depth psychological problems, reconstructing personality dimensions, okay? So it contains a high level of support, caring, confrontation, and other qualities not found in individual counseling. What it looks like is it's people experiencing maybe depression, lifelong depression, lifelong anxiety, maybe, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It's like these are not quick hit things. These are things that it's going to take a lot of cycles to get through something, right? And you'll see them go up and down in emotions, things like that too. Um, so other ones, eating disorders, other mental illnesses like schizophrenia and things like that too. So these are more long term. So remember the one before, 6 to 12 weeks. This one is long term. It could last for years or a lifetime, right? You could have people keep coming back. It's like, maybe individuals with schizophrenia, right? And so they keep coming back week after week so that they can gain skills and you're checking in on them and things like that too. So that's psychotherapy groups, okay? Counseling groups, psychotherapy groups. Then we have brief group therapy, okay? It's time limited and it's very structured. It lasts 2 to 3 months and consists of 8 to 12 weeks, weekly sessions. Facilitators need training in group process and brief therapy in this. Okay, so here's what it looks like. Advantages of brief group therapy. It's well suited to the needs of both clients and managed care. It's cost effective. So insurance companies love these brief group therapies. So when insurance pays for therapy, they'll say, okay, we're going to pay for 12 sessions and that's it. If you go past that, you're on your own type thing. Um, so that's, and it's cost effective also to places like hospitals and stuff because you can have a lot of people in that group, and one person leading it. So that makes it cost effective. Can be used in different settings. We talked about that, hospitals, agencies, and so on. So examples of that would be life coaching, complicated grief reactions, medical illnesses, adjustment disorders or issues. It is solution focused and not history driven. So that's the difference between that and counseling. So counseling, you can go back in history, go with attachment needs, and so on. This is solution focused and not necessarily you don't go back in time to figure out the why we're behaving this way. It's all about just changing behavior. Okay. What is the issue in the here and now, and what is the solution? Okay, self-help groups. Their purpose is the education, affirmation, and enhancement of the existing strengths of the group members. The group members in there, how can we build upon the strengths that they have? How can others, learn from the strengths of others too? So it's really focused on the members, okay, and members working and helping each other. So self-help groups. Membership tends to be open, meaning group composition is constantly changing. So think about that for a second, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But think about going into a group where you don't know anybody. Um, and maybe this is a group that, okay, if I attend week after week after week, I'll start knowing people more and getting to know people more. But the danger is there's going to be people, it's a revolving door. There's people in and out. So these self-help groups, they never end. It's just kind of like they start January 1st and they end December 31st, right? And they just keep going. And people are in and out at that time. So there's usually no leader or a lay leader. Self-disclosure is limited. Why do you think that is? I want to open it up to you guys a little bit. Why do you think self-disclosure is limited?
Because you're going to have a large number of people that you don't know.
Mhm.
And so there's no way to enforce confidentiality or have any
Yeah,
of those kinds of requirements.
absolutely, Jennifer. Yeah, it's scary. It would be, if I'm going to go to a self-help group, it's probably because I just want to go in and learn something and take that home and process or, use the tools. But I'm probably not going to open up if I don't know anybody. It's scary to me, right? Good job. Yeah. So their basis tends to be a particular philosophy geared towards the issue at hand. So it could be addiction recovery, things like that. Okay. Self-help groups are increasingly popular and an important referral source for the helping profession. So that's you. If you, when you guys get into counseling, however you do it, and if you have like your own private practice or wherever you work and you need to send people to different groups, maybe you're working with them on, some addiction recovery or anxiety or something, and you just need them to have extra help, you can continue to do counseling, but send them somewhere else where they can get additional help. Those are excellent resources. So examples would be 12-step groups, men's and women's groups, divorce groups, and so on. Okay, we went through task group. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm wondering if I got the wrong book edition because I didn't see self-help groups in that
What? Which
section.
one did you get? Do you have it in
10th,
front of you?
the 10th.
Mine doesn't have it either.
It doesn't? Well, it's funny because
Mine either.
this presentation is from that edition. So,
And I have the electronic book, so it's not in
mm-mm-mm.
there.
Well, see, you came to the right place. You got an added bonus, no extra charge. So yeah, yeah, brief groups, yeah, psychotherapy, yeah, yeah, and that presentation is from this. Yeah, I'll have to go through and maybe a task group, maybe in a different part. Uh, yeah, I'll have to go through and look. So thanks for pointing that out. Appreciate that. Yeah, but I will definitely leave it in there because and probably the reason is it's not really counseling per se, because task group is to go out and improve something. So, somewhere where somebody's done a lot of research and things like that. So it's not really counseling, it's going and accomplishing something. So good catch though. Thank you for that. You guys are on top of it. Okay. So we really kind of want to talk about identity too. How do I know myself? When I get into a group and things like that, yeah, do you think it's important for me to understand and have self-awareness, and that will probably take me a lot further, in the groups? Okay. So here are some type of things that would help you with your identity, right? So I'm doing a multicultural class at another university or whatever, and I had them draw, okay, put your middle, there's a circle in the middle, and then you have other circles around it, right? And you draw lines to it. So this one, okay, so I have Jennifer in the middle. This is who I am, okay? Then I put up on the other part, who am I? I'm a student, I'm a mother, daughter, whatever. I'm a Christian. So within all of these things, that makes my identity. And what's important? What are the ones that are important to me? Which ones can I cling to? Which ones do I not like so much about, either myself or the world, that we live in or whatever. But who am I? Okay. And kind of understanding that. So if we have that self-awareness when we get into groups, um, and have that established identity, that's what we're helping them to do. Here's one thing. Think about somebody going into a grief share group and they just lost somebody, maybe their spouse of 30, 40, 50 years. And they're sitting there going, I don't know who I am anymore. And I am searching. And so these groups can really help them in that. So, maybe some exercises that can help them. But people are generally searching, especially there's when there's some big changes that happen in our lives. Okay. So group therapeutic factors. Here is you talk about in helping skills, there's the class helping skills. When you do that, one of the main things we talk about is that therapeutic alliance, building a therapeutic alliance within, between the counselor and the counselee. And within that therapeutic alliance is a bunch of different things, okay? And mainly trust. Can I trust the person that I am opening up towards a lot? Okay. So, what do we do? What do we learn through interpersonal action, right? Attempting to relate constructively and adaptively within this group, either through initiation or responding to other group members. Oftentimes, this occurs when initiating new behavior with other members in the group. So that interpersonal action that we have with one another builds that trust too. So maybe you have somebody comes in and they can encourage you, they can empathize with you and all that stuff too. That builds that trust. Then you're opening up more and you're becoming more vulnerable. That's the therapeutic alliance, right, that you're having. However, there could be another one where you have group dynamics where people are coming in and they're trying to control the group or maybe take control away from the leader or co-leader. And that does what? Diminishes trust immensely. And you'll see the dynamics of the group, everybody like not talking or not engaging or not showing up the next time, all types of things, right? So that therapeutic alliance and group cohesion is very important. Okay, guidance. The leader or a group member will give information or directly give advice to another group member. Generally, in guidance, yes, we want to give information or advice somewhat, but in true counseling form, we want the person to have that self-awareness of that change that they're searching for, if that makes sense, right? So when it says directly give advice, I kind of cringe a little bit because I don't really like the advice giving part, although I think we can, but I think we can challenge, we can do things like that. It's in the way that we're going to give this advice that makes a difference, okay? Insight, very important, right? So learning about yourself through feedback and personal reflection, that provides the insight that we need to make those changes that we search for. This includes learning how you come across to others, learning about the nature of a problem as it manifests itself relationally with the group members and why you behave the way you do and how you got there. That's a that's another thing. It's called emotional intelligence, right? So emotional intelligence would be how, when something happens, how I react to it emotionally, or when I say something or do something and other people react to it. Ooh, I got to take a step back and say, oh, wow, that was something that didn't land well or something like that. But having that emotional intelligence to know the difference, to either maybe apologize or whatever, right? So we've all known people in our lives that don't have, maybe they have a high IQ and a low EQ, emotional intelligence. And so that, within a group, we have to really watch out for that. And if some people do have it, maybe we have to give them more guidance and maybe pull them aside and give them guidance and things like that too. So, but we're really trying to help people have that insight and self-awareness. Here's a big one for group, right? Acceptance is a personal feeling of belonging. So if you remember, think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have you guys studied that at all? Okay. So there's these bottom two things in the pyramid. There's five things on the pyramid, five steps, right? The bottom two, the bottom one is food and water. We all need food and water to survive. Okay. The next one up is safety, security. And so if we are living in the bottom two rungs, safety, security, food, and water, we are just surviving. We're not thriving. We don't start thriving until we get to the next rungs up. Belonging, self-esteem, higher self-esteem, more confidence, self-actualization, and knowing who we are in Christ, right? What is our image? Being in the image of Christ, right? So that is the feeling of belonging, warmth, friendliness, comfort, being valued by others. Cohesion, on the other hand, indicates a group perception of togetherness. Okay, it's not just the individual thinking, "Oh, I belong," but it's how does the group feel that they're belonging? That's when you're going to see from stage to stage that cohesiveness either build or not build or disintegrate because of some reason or something. It's all an art and a science, right? And good group leaders know how to grow that cohesion. Okay. Self-disclosure is another factor in therapy. Y'all know what self-disclosure is? Okay. So it's the act of revealing personal information about yourself to the group. You're disclosing something about yourself. This may take the form in giving feedback about an experience maybe you had, or about your experience of others in the group. Maybe I'm sitting there and I say to Felicia, wow, when you said that, this is how I experienced you. Could be something that is something that I need to work on in myself, or maybe something that maybe Felicia has to work on, or maybe it was so good that I took it as encouragement or something like that. Whatever it is, okay? So an example of that would look like this. When you raise your voice, I immediately think you're going to hurt someone in the group. And I think I better stop talking or it will be me, right? A lot of factors go into that. And it could be that the person is just normally a louder person. And maybe I'm more meek or whatever, or maybe I've had some childhood issues, trauma or whatever, where somebody in my life yelled a lot. And so when I hear the escalation of tone, that does something inside me. So that's an excellent opportunity for the leader to grab a hold of that either way. Whether I need to do work about maybe some attachment issues I've had from the past, or trauma I've had from the past or something, or whether the person on the other side of that is an angry person or so on. Okay. So that's an example there. It can also be your reaction to others' feedback of you. Okay. So example would be when you said that I come across as manipulative, I wanted to attack you instead of accepting your feedback. Okay. That's self-disclosure. I'm disclosing that, man, that hurt me on the inside. But I have enough self-awareness that I know you better than that. And I know you're not a manipulator. So I need to take a look inside myself, what's going on inside of me, and and understand the emotions that that's coming across to me. Oh, Macy?
I have a question. Would it ever be okay for like a group leader at any time to like disclose of their own struggles with mental health, like in the past, or would that not be okay? Or would it be like specific to the type of group? Like I'm thinking like in like an addiction recovery group or like eating disorder group,
Mhm.
like that would be encouraging maybe for the person if they saw somebody overcome it.
Macy, that's an excellent point. Absolutely. To me, self-disclosure can come from the leader, especially first or maybe the most, and so on, because I think that everybody's looking towards a leader and they want to know, uh, wouldn't you feel better if it's like, wow, they understand the struggle that I'm going through because they experienced it and now look at them, they seem healthy or
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Do you guys know? Oh, here. I don't know if it's me that puts your hand down or if you do it yourself.
Intuition.
When it does it, just because then, if I see you guys' hands go up, I just want to make sure that I stop for y'all. Okay. Yeah, great question. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I think the leader should give here. However, I will give one caveat is, and this is what I challenge counselors with all the time, is when they are self-disclosing, I want to know the reason why. Okay. And why I say that is some people may self-disclose because they're kind of throwing it out there to have themselves counseled in in that moment. Like I may say something going, um, well, I would really love you to provide feedback for me and all that stuff too, so that I can, you know, so if a leader or the counselor is self-disclosing, I always ask, is it for you or for them? You know, so yeah, great question. Okay. Catharsis, just meaning emotionally releasing feelings that you're having as you're experiencing them in the group. Very important, right? So this communicates trust and develops emotional intimacy among group members. If you see somebody that is overcoming something, how powerful is that, to be a part of that, right? Example is that a person may say is, I am scared to say what I feel for fear of being hurt, right? But if a member can overcome those things and have that feeling, um, and you experience that, it's such a powerful event. Okay, so group leaders. Let's see what time it is here. 7:08. Let's go a few more minutes, okay? Group leader functions. They should be caring. That's pretty important to be being a counselor. You should be caring, right? Meaning making, help provide meaning in a group. Executive functioning, meaning being able to control emotions, having emotional regulation. Um, Within that emotional regulation is modeling that as well. Okay. Emotional stimulation um, is another group leader function. Okay. So let's look at caring. So within the group leader, they should be caring, right? Inviting members to seek feedback as well as support, praise, and encourage. So how is that accomplished? That's accomplished through the building of trust, trusting one another. You will never, hardly ever see this happen unless there is that trust that I am going to provide feedback to the group and they're going to take it in a way as to not judge me, not to throw it back in my face, not to tell anybody outside of the group, so on. There's just so much to being vulnerable, right? Leaders express warmth, acceptance, genuineness, real concern for other human beings in the group, and so on. So, an example of that would be John, that took so much courage to share your fears of rejection with Susan. Man, that I love that courage that you just showed for of that fear and being able to express it and being vulnerable in that moment to be able to do that. So that's showing caring. And it really comes out in your tone and the way that you talk and things like that too. Meaning making, so important, right? Conceptualizing what is going on in the group. So, um, if somebody's having fear, if we go back to that last thing, John, that took so much courage to share your fears of rejection with Susan. So making meaning of that, meaning, wow, you really value what Susan's opinion is of you, or so, or you want to be able to reach out to Susan in some way. So we're making meaning of that. What's the meaning behind that fear? Okay. Group leaders provide interpretations of meaning making that is going on with the group. So, an example would be I noticed everyone became quiet. It seems like the group might be worried about safety. See the meaning that came out of that? The meaning is everybody became quiet, so there must be something to do with safety, right? So nobody feels safe enough to be vulnerable in this moment. Executive functioning, right? So group leaders focus on the administrative tasks of running um, a group. So the important things of this, setting up the group, choosing members, and we'll go into all of these things, the importance of choosing members, okay? Limit setting, and with all of these, the leader can do it, and or he can appoint the members to come up with these things too, the rules of the road, okay? Because it is their group, okay? Manage the time, stopping, blocking, um, meaning, you're stopping people when they get emotionally dysregulated or whatever. You want to keep your emotions regulated, but you may stop something, or blocking, something from happening, like somebody not encouraging somebody and so on. Inviting encouragement, eliciting encouragement, and so on. So an example of this would be, John, would it be okay if I stopped you right there? What you have to say is very important, but we're running out of time in today's group. Perhaps we could start with your concerns next group. So stopping something right there, but being therapeutic about it, right? Emotional stimulation. So the leader emphasizes and facilitates the acknowledgement and sharing of emotions with each other. So the leader models emotional self-disclosure and regulation, I would put in there, models self-regulation while utilizing actions necessary to encourage members to disclose those emotions. So we want people to be vulnerable and be able to disclose those emotions. So example would be, Sharon, when you share that and I see your tears, see the tears in your eyes, I'm wondering what emotion comes up for you and whether you could take the risk of sharing that with John. What emotion is coming up? So you're going to do a lot of stopping in that part when, say, Sharon is having tears in her eyes. Okay, what's that mean? We don't want to discount those. We don't want to avoid them either. We don't want to point them out, as something that is going to make them feel bad about it. But we want to put that therapeutic relationship into place, meaning wow, there is something really going on. If there's tears in your eyes, we need to investigate that. So, right? Okay. So fit between group factors and leadership, you can kind of look at these things. Group factors, acceptance, cohesiveness, leadership function to gain that is caring. Group factors, guidance and insight, that's meaning making, right? We want to make meaning of things. Um, Interpersonal interaction, executive function, we create that environment and culture and all of that stuff within the group to be able for them to have that interpersonal connection. Self-disclosure, catharsis, emotional stimulation. Okay. Let's see here. 7:15. You guys have been awesome. Let's take 10 minutes, good? 7:25? Okay. I'll see you back 7:25, 7:26.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we're back. And I looked, there's like 2 slides left in this. I don't know why we couldn't just finish it, right? So, okay. Multicultural perspective of the group. So this is so important too, for a leader to understand different cultures and, what those represent within the group too, and how they may be different, how each person is different, right? So a culture encompasses the values, beliefs, and behaviors shared by the group. That's the culture of the group, right? You can have cultures of where you work, your class, your family, all of these cultures, right? Culture is learned in groups. Okay. Effective group work involves considering the culture of the participants. What type of culture is being introduced into that? So remember, these open groups too. When people are coming through in those and people of different cultures coming through, then, that could change the whole dynamics, right? And so a good leader understands how dynamics can change with differences in people. Cultural similarities and differences need to be addressed in a group. Okay. Next, culturally skilled group counselors need to be aware of their own personal values, attitudes, biases, assumptions, and prejudices, right? Be aware of those, have a general knowledge about the ways that the diverse backgrounds of members may affect the group process, and be able to implement interventions that are appropriate for the life experiences of the members of the group. It's so important for individuals to learn about the diverse multicultural aspects of group too. We can grow so much in learning from each other. Okay, so there's this one. Let me stop sharing this. I want to get a little bit into the old other presentation, but I want to leave time because this is a pretty good this is a pretty good picture, this video of what group looks like. But I want to get into chapter 2 just a little bit at least. Let's see here. Okay, chapter 2, so we can get some information before we get started next week in group. There's just never enough time, is there? Okay, share this down here. Okay, let me open this up. Okay, chapter 2. Learning objectives, explore common issues facing beginning group leaders, identify the characteristics and functions of effective group leaders, describe the major skills required for effective group leaders, and provide a rationale for and an approach to self-assessment of group leadership skills. So a self-assessment. You should always think about doing an assessment in a group of polling people or asking or handing out a sheet that says, how can I do better? Right? So that would be a way. Discuss some ways to select a co-leader, present the advantages of co-leadership, present the disadvantage of co-leadership, and introduce the value of research orientation into the group. Consider the status of the group. So we'll just go on. Okay. Norms. So group norms. Okay. Think about this. So group norms, they describe consistent patterns of behaviors by all the group members. These can be unwritten rules, written or unwritten rules, right? That create that behavior of the group. Now, norms, generally, we want them to kind of stay, throughout the group, but they can change through the stages too. Hopefully they don't change much because you want to keep the same norms, so everybody has the same expectations and so on, but they can change. So example would be a group changes the subject when one person starts feeling bad. That could be, a normal occurrence. And, if somebody starts feeling bad, oh, let's change the subject because we don't want it, we don't want anybody crying in here. We don't want to see those emotions, right? The norm being set is that it's not okay to feel bad in this group. We don't want that to happen, right? We want, it's not that people are feeling bad, but maybe they are sad about something and there's tears flowing. But that's where the change begins, right? So the next, people have roles within the group. Some are the quiet people. Some may be the outspoken people. Some may be the jokesters and so on. Okay. So a role describes the consistent patterns of behaviors performed by individual group members. So example would be a particular group member is counted on to crack a joke when conflict begins. So they're the ones that alleviate the conflict by cracking a joke or whatever. Is that good or bad? It depends, right? Humor is sometimes a good thing, but if somebody continues to crack jokes all the time, that's a distraction and that needs to be addressed, right? So this reinforces a group norm that conflict is not okay. If this guy's going to keep cracking jokes all the time when two people start, getting a little heated or whatever, then what he's telling everybody is, I don't feel comfortable in this, so I'm going to crack a joke, so on, okay? To alleviate that issue, okay? Think about this, right? We won't go into this, but just think about it. What were your family's patterns of behaviors? What were unwritten rules that you had? Maybe it was on Sunday, an unwritten rule, unwritten was you go to church, you come home, we eat together, and then maybe we do some family stuff. So every Sunday is about family. Maybe that's an unwritten rule. That's a norm. Could be many, many other things. So think about your own family now or in the past or whatever. What were some unwritten rules that you had? Okay. Okay. And then roles. What were your patterns of behaviors in your own home? What were your patterns? Who were you in this? Who were you? What was your role in your family? What's your role in your family now? What's your role in your work, school, church, so on, right? What's your role? And see how it changes from thing to thing. Okay, so group leaders. So these are some skills and some applications that we can have, right? Group leaders need to evaluate what types of norms are being negotiated in the group that you're seeing happen, right? Is there blocking and obstructing in this group? Or are they encouragers of one another? And you want to encourage that to happen, okay? Obstructing norms would be behaviors that are inconsistent with group goals. So if we want to grow and be better individuals or more like Christ in as an individual, then we shouldn't have these criticizing, denying of feelings, talking about things outside of the group, avoiding responsibilities, competitiveness, and so on. Think about this. What are some obstructing norms that you would bring into the group? Right? Just think about something like that. Helping norms, behaviors that are consistent with group goals. Obviously, right? So sharing, exploring emotions, giving feedback, encouragement, keeping things confidential. So what are some helping norms that you would bring into a group? Think about those things, okay? What would you bring into it? Group leaders need to look at how group members' roles are contributing to the development of group norms. Okay, so roles, facilitative roles, they are ones that encourage helping norms in the group. So example would be a member who encourages the expression of genuine negative emotions. Hindering instead of facilitating would be self-serving to accomplish their own personal agenda in the group. Maybe somebody blocks or they want to take over the leadership role or whatever, so they become a controller or whatever. Example would be a member who suppresses the expression of negative emotions by asking everyone to please be nicer to one another. So that's pretty much controlling, right, the group. And so you may have somebody in your group that's like that. Avoiding serves to keep group members from meaningful interactions. Example would be changes the subject, brings things from the outside. So think about this. You can have somebody with an attachment style growing up of secure attachment, anxious attachment, avoidant or dismissive attachment. That's what this is kind of saying. So that's what avoidants do. They change the subject. So to avoid any conflict or to avoid whatever that makes them feel like, makes them feel uncomfortable. Okay, so good group leader characteristics, okay? So some personal characteristics of effective leaders would be they have courage. They have good self-awareness and their commitment to self-care. Let me open this up to you. Why would self-care be that important that we would put this up here? What's important about self-care as a group leader?
If we don't take care of ourselves, it makes it harder for us to address the concerns of the counselees or group members because we become too focused on our own problems and it can kind of interfere into the group and cause more conflict for them rather than help them.
That's awesome. Yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, if we're not at our best, how can we model our best? Be the model of the best. That's awesome. Yes. Or if we're burnt out, we're going to bring that into the group. Or if, just whatever's going on in our lives, if we bring the trash in, right? That could spill out into the group. Very good, Macy. Thanks. That's good. So willingness to model. This takes a lot of emotional regulation, right? So to model things, be present, goodwill, genuineness, caring, belief in the group. So this is so important, the belief in the group process. So I had teachers when I was going through, and hopefully we're saying this to you, but it's trust the process, right? If we have a process, especially when you guys are be creating your own groups and there's a process to that, trust that process that you're going to get from A to Z in it, right? And that good things are going to happen. If I follow this, then this will happen, okay? Openness, non-defensiveness, non-defensiveness in coping with criticism, becoming aware of subtle cultural issues, being able to identify with the client's pain, empathy. Empathy is very important, right? And you're modeling that empathy and you're teaching others how to grow that empathy muscle. And that commitment to self-care, just like we talked about, so important. Um, Other personal characteristics of effective group leaders, personal power, stamina, sense of humor, inventiveness. So important to be inventive. What if something's going on and you've got a lot of people in group and they're just sitting there, right? So sometimes we have to invent new ways of getting maybe some energy up or something like that, right? How about somebody's personal walk with the Lord too? Is that showing up in your group? Is your own personal walk showing up in the group? So important, right? And that's an encouragement too. So encouraging. Creating a group climate that fosters interpersonal norms such as openness, directness, and respect, and so on. Leaders' interpersonal skills, being able to get the best out of people, using your own genuineness, empathy, and warmth, and so on, that creates that culture, that climate of change, that climate of openness, right? That people can kind of grab a hold of and gravitate towards, uh, you know, them doing the same thing, you modeling and them doing the same thing. So the important thing is for you to um, have skills, to acquire new skills, to learn about new skills, to implement new skills, not to be scared to implement these new skills, and so on. Skills cannot be separated from the leader's personality. So having that personality, and people gravitate towards individuals' personalities and such, right? Learning how to use group skills is an art. And skills are learned through supervised experience, practice, feedback. So, what we'll learn in this is you'll have a group leader, you'll have a co-leader, and it's important for those two to get together afterwards to debrief. Okay, how did group go? How could we have done better? What can we implement to encourage and so on? So these are skills that they're learned from others. Okay. So it's always good. Maybe you be a co-leader of a group before you become a leader. It just depends, and maybe you're naturally fit into whatever leader role that you are, and you don't need to do that. So, but anyway, it's always about learning and for people to provide feedback to you and so on. So taking that feedback and what am I going to do with that, and how am I going to improve the group? So here's some more skills: active listening, reflecting, clarifying, summarizing, facilitating, supporting, blocking, assessing, modeling, empathizing, interpreting, questioning, linking, confronting, suggesting, initiating, evaluating, terminating. There's a lot of skills there, right? That we have to incorporate. So if you take these skills, think about each time that you run your group, am I doing these things? Or if other people are uh, being vulnerable and talking about something that's going on in our life, am I empathizing with them? Can I work out that muscle better? So, what about some problems and issues facing group leaders? Okay, think about this: that a group leader may ask, "How will I be able to get this group started?" Maybe it's your first time running a group. How will I be able to get this started? Will people listen to me? So on, right? What techniques should I use? Should I wait for the group to initiate activity or do I need to step in? So it's all things that we're going to be sitting there asking during this time. And the more and more and more and more that we run groups, the better that we're going to get. Will I know how to follow through once something has been initiated? What if I don't like one of the group members? There's a new twist, right? What if I don't like the people I'm working with? Can I still be effective and be an effective leader? Okay. What if I don't like the group I'm running? Just think about that. For me, if I'm running a group that I don't know much about, I probably won't be that effective at it. What if I make mistakes? Can I do harm to members? What do I do if there's prolonged silence? So you'll learn if you're in my helping skills class that silence is very important and a lot can come out of silence. I love silence. Courage, willingness to be vulnerable and admit to mistakes, to confront other group members. And confrontation doesn't mean that we're getting in their face or anything like that. It means like maybe we're challenging them, maybe on a thought or an action or something like that. Something, maybe challenging them to act on your own beliefs and your own hunches, to be emotionally affected by group members, to have courage to be direct and honest with group members. That's what we're there for, right? To be direct and honest with them. Modeling, so being the group leader that you want to be and that you want other group members to be. Example, disclosing your reactions to a group member in a kind but clear way. Presence, being affected by but not overwhelmed by group members. If something happens, how can I confront that or challenge or empathize, right? But not being overwhelmed, not being distracted, but fully attentive, not being distracted by maybe there's somebody in your group that's a joke cracker and all that stuff too. And maybe, the best thing is to ignore them. But maybe the best thing is to address them right then, or it could be after the group. It's knowing when to do those things. Okay. Goodwill, genuineness, and care. They have sincere interest in the welfare of the group members. We really care about our group members, right? Giving warmth, concern, and support. Showing care even when the group members are more difficult. That shows good leadership skills, right? Think about this. What type of group members might be in your group that you may have a kind of a problem with, right? And how am I going to handle those things? There's one of my favorites, belief in the group process, right? Believe in yourself as a group leader and trust the group therapy process. Trust that everything that you've implemented, you're going to get from A to Z in that. Challenging moments in a group can test this. Yeah, they're all not going to go perfectly, but you must believe that if you maintain healthy norms, healthy outcomes will come. Being open, let's see here, 747. Being open, group members need to see you reveal enough of yourself. So Macy, that's what we talk about the disclosure, right? Group members see enough of yourself, reveal enough of yourself that you get a sense of who you are. And when you do disclose, they go, oh, wow, that's important information. Okay, because they know who you are. Most therapeutic moments come in the form of offering, I see here spelled wrong. Here and now reactions to members indicating how you're being affected by them. Your openness will open up other group members. If there's trust, right? If we don't have a lot of things established, they may not open up no matter how much you disclose. Non-defensive, if you're being criticized, being non-defensive, right? This means developing a thick skin sometimes that if people criticize, that I'm going to be able to take that criticism to heart and not deflect it or get mad at it or anything like that. I'm going to take it as, well, there's maybe something I can take out of that. What can I take out of this? It's necessary to make it safe for the group members to confront you, or they will withdraw from the group. So sometimes confronting, if they're confronting you, that means that they are wanting to help take ownership and be responsible in that group. So they may confront, and how are you going to react in that? Simply describing your reactions in a kind way helps keep safety and not communicate defensiveness. We talked about this a little earlier about being aware of culture, so being aware of your own unconscious and conscious cultural biases and prejudice that may interfere with safe group process and so on. If we understand our own prejudice, we are more likely to help other group members do the same. Having empathy by identifying with the other group members' pain, so being open to allowing yourself to experience those emotions with them. I'm telling you, sometimes when we use that empathy muscle and work with others, it can be tiring to always be empathizing all the time. So that's where that self-care comes in, right? Is we're going to be on the top of our game and empathizing. We better be prepared for it too. Emotions take a lot of energy. Being open to the sources of pain in your own life to increase identification of group members' pain. Here's another thing, being a counselor is you're going to hear a lot of stories from people as you sitting in a room with them. It's empathy is being able to draw on something in your own life, even if what they're describing you haven't encountered. But it's being able to draw something from you that connects with what they're talking about. Okay? So being open to the sources of pain in your own life, identifying with something in my own life that I can identify with the person's pain that's sitting there with me. Okay. I remember when I first started counseling, I hadn't lost anybody in my family close to me. Then I lost two, three, four people. And then I understood the pain of grief and losing individuals and what it was like to lose an individual. And so then the next day and next 2 days, next 3 days, what that pain was like. So then I could connect with people through their grief. As a group leader, know who you are. Trusting in our confidence while continuing to fine-tune ourselves as people and professionals. Leaders who are not confident might take credit for group members' own insights and change. Yeah, no, we want to give them credit. We want to encourage them and so on. There's the commitment to self-care. Our own stamina as a group leader requires that we are caring for ourselves. So a commitment to habits of thinking, feeling, and behaving that promotes wellness. I preach this a lot. What are you eating? Nutrition is a big thing for me, right? Because I know I changed the way that I eat, and I eat a lot healthier now, and I feel a lot different. And I'm not as anxious. I'm not a lot of things. So, um, so I think that's totally important in the holistic nature of everything, our diet, our emotions, how are we thinking, what's our behaviors like, all of those things. So we cannot provide nourishment to group members if we do not nourish ourselves in self-care. Inventiveness means the capacity for spontaneity and to approach the group with new ideas each week. Experiments often merge from the here and now, which require inventiveness to create and to deliver. An inventive leader can also tap into the creativity of its members. Nothing better than having something, maybe something, God gives you something in that moment, and the group takes it and runs with it, and it improves the group. So being in tune with the Holy Spirit at that time, that's part of the process for sure. Personal dedication and commitment, allowing yourself to commit time and resources into making a difference as a group leader. Yeah, if we're not committing ourselves to maybe studying what the subject is and being professional and being experts on it. That's dedication, right? So being dedicated involves humility as well, being open to feedback, to explore yourself as you grow as a leader, being humble. And, if somebody does confront you on something, you look at it in many different ways. Is what can I take from that is truth, right? And apply it to my life. Okay. Um, yeah, so I'm going to stop here so we can get into the group leadership next week. So I want to show this group that we have so you can kind of get a good example of what this looks like. Let me bring it up. Take about 5 minutes, okay? I'll bring up the video, we'll watch it, and kind of go from there, okay? All right, see you in 5 minutes, and I'll have the video up. Okay. Guys hear it? Okay.
The film you are about to see was originally filmed during the annual University of North Texas Counseling Conference. One of the keynote presenters, Dr. Robert Berg, professor of counselor education at UNT, made some opening remarks regarding process group counseling and then led a group of volunteers from the audience in a freestanding live process group demonstration. What you will see here is a slightly edited version of that live demonstration. While you may feel that you are intruding in their private lives, remember that several hundred people were there in the audience. Even in the glare of stage lights and the relatively awkward semicircle, you will notice the group moving effectively through a first group encounter.
How are you doing? Does that trigger anything for anyone?
Morning, maintaining. Long night.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh, well, I'm pregnant, so I'm kind of not sleeping good at night. And I have a 2-year-old that has a really bad cold, and about every 30 minutes, up, down, up, down.
Okay.
So,
You had a rough night.
yes, to say the least.
Okay. And you bring that into this group experience with you this morning.
Yeah.
And what are you aware of needing here?
I think what I'm dealing with mainly is making career decisions because I am already practicing and deciding on whether or not I'm going to keep practicing or just be a mother, because it is difficult to really tune in to other people's problems and concerns when you're just not getting enough sleep and you're focusing on it, it's just, just a lot. So.
It is. It's a pulling apart.
Right.
I wonder, thank you for sharing, Stacia.
Thank you.
Can anyone else relate to what she was saying? Does anyone have any ideas? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old, and I work full-time as a school counselor and have a private practice. So yes, that shifting of attention and gears is real tough and real tiring and stressful.
You can really understand what she's experiencing. Okay. No.
I'm not a parent, but I'm getting married in May, a student, full-time student, and also working. So it's just even trying to find my priorities there, and everything has been very stressful.
How are you doing right now?
I'm a little nervous.
Okay.
It's just being up here in front of all these people, I think.
Okay. And how does your nervousness come out?
I can feel my heart rate. My hands are real sweaty. I get real fidgety.
Okay. And your first name is?
Shelly.
Shelley. Okay. What do you need to help you be more comfortable right now?
I don't know. Maybe a curtain.
Most of us are aware that they're there. Okay? Let's take a look at them just for a minute. They're all out there. I can appreciate that. What else? What's going on?
Planning a wedding. And it's, I don't think that he's my parents' first choice.
Your first name?
Corey.
Corey. How is that related to tiredness? Help me understand.
Well, last night, well, tonight's his mom's 50th birthday party, and we're planning a surprise party for her. And he travels, he's gone Monday through Thursday, and so my parents said that he could stay at our house. And so he slept upstairs and I slept downstairs. And I heard my parents fidgeting all morning, and it was loud in our house. And it was different. I thought he'd feel more comfortable being upstairs, and it would be more appropriate for me to be closer to my parents. And so I guess because I wasn't in my surroundings that I normally am.
So it was different, it was full of change, and somehow I'm hearing you had to be responsible for that. You had to...
I like to take responsibility.
I'm sorry.
I like to take the responsibility.
But it makes you tired.
Yes.
Oh. Especially when it has to be perfect.
True.
Okay. Tell me about being perfect.
I don't feel I'm a perfect person, but I don't understand why they feel that he isn't probably the right person for me. That doesn't make sense to me. Because there's nothing that, when you meet him, that's bad about him. And so it makes me frustrated. And I guess knowing that they're not going to have a perfect relationship bothers me. So being perfect, to answer your question, is important. Not necessarily me being perfect, but having perfect situations.
Because if I had the perfect situation, then...
it would go smoother.
Smooth. Smooth is good.
Yes.
Okay. Give me the picture of how it would be if it were smooth. How you would feel.
Just more relaxed. I wouldn't always feel so tense. I wouldn't feel these bricks constantly on my shoulders.
What's on? Bricks?
Bricks. I use my hands a lot, obviously.
Yes. They're here, the bricks.
Yes.
That feels heavy. Mm-hmm. Makes you tired.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corey. Wow. Anybody else tired? Anyone else like to say something? Yes.
I'm tired too. I really understand how you feel, because I think we're very close in ages too. So probably it's that thing of what do you expect from yourself and what.
Sorry about that. Hang on one second. Let me go back in and see. It says it's my internet connection, but everything looks good. It stopped on you, right? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on. I'm trying to work through this. Yeah, no, what matter what I've gone to 3 browsers. No matter what browser I go to, it's down for some reason. It's my internet's working, so I don't know what's going on. Apologize for that. Well, what did you notice out of that group setting?
I was fascinated at how he was able to really like attend to what the people were saying and then reflect back and even just asking questions. He did it masterfully. Well,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I was trying to really pay attention to that.
Yes, that was very good. Yeah. So what the leader was doing, absolutely.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, what else did you notice?
Yeah, I think going back to the question piece, just how he could lead each of them individually with his questions,
Yeah, absolutely.
the conclusions that they make.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like this video. Sorry, it's not working. I don't get it.
I think for me, he redirected the one lady, and how did her response tie into the previous lady's response? And and help her to
Ooh.
kind of refocus on her response and what it is that she was trying to convey with her soon-to-be husband, her fiance's with the parents and the sleep and what did that have to do with one and the other.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah. That's good observation. Yeah. Is he a good leader? Yeah. He's a pretty good leader. Let me try this one more time. I really want you guys to see more of this. It's really good.
It's
He isn't probably the right person for me. That doesn't make sense to me. Because there's nothing, there's nothing.
Okay, can you guys see it and hear it? I don't have you up. Just somebody say yeah, if you can.
Yeah, we can see it in here.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, here we go.
That when you meet him, that's bad about him. And so it makes me frustrated. And I guess knowing that they're not going to have a perfect relationship bothers me. So being perfect, to answer your question, is important. Not necessarily me being perfect, but having perfect situations.
Because if I had the perfect situation, then
it would go smoother.
Smooth is good.
Yes.
Yeah. Give me the picture of how it would be if it were smooth, how you would feel.
Just more relaxed. I wouldn't always feel so tense. I wouldn't feel these bricks constantly on my shoulders.
What's on? Bricks?
Bricks. I use my hands a lot, obviously.
Yes. They're here, the bricks.
Yes.
That feels heavy. Makes you tired.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corey. Wow. Anybody else tired? Anyone else like to say something? Yes.
I'm tired too. I really understand how you feel, because I think we're very close in ages too. So probably it's that thing of what do you expect from yourself and what your parents expect from yours. You know, like as a daughter, how you are supposed to be. And I've been here almost for a year. I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And I know that the day, I don't know exactly when I'm going home to visit after a year, there is a possibility there that I can go for a couple of weeks at the end of May. I'm not sure. And I know I will have to face what I left. So that's somehow, I know I will make me feel tired when I think about that. And I feel those bricks that you say, because, and I relate this, what you say about career decisions too. Like, I'm going with my own goal, with my own thing, and I know it makes me feel very free and very responsible at the same time, because it's my choice and I can feel it. It's like when I was an undergrad, I knew that I was supposed to go to college. My parents wanted me to have a degree, but nobody asked me to do a master's. This is really my vocation. This is really my future. And I relate this with, I'm not gonna get married. It's the last thing I need right now.
Sounds to me like you've got a lot of other things that you have to take care of. You're very proud of what you've done so far.
Oh yes. I'm very happy, but at the same thing is that happiness with the taste of the challenge, you know. So I know that that sometimes make me feel tired. But I still choose it because when I'm not tired, it feels so good that I still choose it.
When you were talking about your parents back in Argentina, and you going back there to visit them, and you looked up like this and you smiled, and you kind of indicated that there was going to be some anxiety about that.
Yes, it's going to be tough because I know that my first trip it will be when I will let go, finally, something that I'm working on now. It's one part of my life that I will keep as a good experience, but I have to let it go. It's gonna be when I face the difference, like I will know that the things I left are not there anymore. The life goes on. I will face the last part of this big change in my life. So that's why it makes me anxious. I think that then if I go to visit again, I will get used to it. But this time, there's going to be a lot of my friends got married. So those years, I'm 25, and those years when everything changed so fast.
When you were talking about that, a different quality came over you. Your face changed, your voice softened. You were really into the experience of that and what that's going to mean for you.
Oh, yes. And I know I have to face it. I'm just preparing myself to be ready for the moment. Like, I know it's going to be a lot of emotions, good things, anxiety. Try to preparing for that, but at the same time enjoying this. So it's going to be a good experience, and it's part of my process of growing up.
Is it Maria?
Maria.
Maria. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Did that stimulate anything in anyone else? You had a reaction at one point.
Well, when she was talking about marriage is just not on my mind, I remember at 23, I had no idea that I was going to get married. I mean, I just thought, 30, 35.
Why do you think marriage is not on her mind? What would you guess?
No, it's on her mind. I mean, no. Yeah, not that she has someone in mind to marry, but that's part of, I think, not a struggle, but just something that you have to think about as a young woman. When am I planning to get married? And you don't think at such a young age that you are, but it happens that way. And obviously, I mean...
I feel ready. Like, the thing is, I feel ready emotionally to get married. Especially, like, I have a little niece, and when I was in my country, I used to take care of her a lot. So that developed in me, like, I say, well, do I have the maturity to raise a kid and everything? And so I think emotionally, I can bring the support that a little kid needs to grow. So to have a family, to get married, implies a lot of things. Probably that part of me is getting ready, but I know that I'm just in the beginning of my master's. That is important for me, and that probably I prefer to settle down, and also it's a new place for me. So, it's put too much on my shoulders to try to, resolve my professional, emotional life, everything like this.
It's like a big quilt.
It's in my mind. I don't imagine myself without a family. I think I'm very given to just to focus on my career. That's all. But still, my career is very important too. So now I'm giving priority to that.
Right.
I had a couple of reactions to it too. One is that
Really are
it is
connected.
hard.
I'll just point out, and I'll be right back with you. Really are connected here because of the perfect thing. I hear a plan. I'd like to have a plan. Go ahead, Carol. What were you going to say?
Well, two things. One is that that's wise in a lot of ways because graduate degrees are very hard on marriages. I think you'll discover it's tough because of the time and the commitment involved. But what I'm impressed with is that you're in this separation process of identity, and you're real aware of it, and you're aware that you've got a situation where you can go visit and have an actual time, almost a timetable. It sounds like you've gotten away. A certain cutting off point of this is when I'm going to set myself free. And of course, it's not that, it won't be exactly like that. But just most people during that identity stage, that separation stage, most of us don't have that awareness of it. We don't have that much of a plan for it. So I'm impressed with that. I think that's neat. Prepare yourself for that.
Well, the thing is, like in my country, interdependence is one of those countries where is considered healthy, and so that this separation, individuation process that you start to experience again, not only when you're a kid, but in adolescence, it was very partial in my case. So that was a need that was pushing, and so until I became aware, took a long process, and I can tell that before I came, I was just feeling really, really uncomfortable. It was like I feeling myself in a cage. My parents love me, I love them, but it's those countries where you live with your family until you get married, and it's a free country with quotation marks. There is a role for everything. In every place is like that, but he said I was in a searching process, that I was needing to do something for myself to discover more parts of me, especially because I know it's going to give me more tools or make me more skilled, or to work as a counselor in the future, and to be, it's like the more I become aware of myself, the more I do things that I really identify as my needs, the more I will be able to listen. So I say, well, everything goes together, what you love to do and what you need to do as a person.
And when you use those words, everything goes together, I'm just going to take a wild guess right now. Just come off the wall. If it's not right, tell me. I'm feeling like that together is something that you're trying to achieve, that you feel kind of split, that there's this part over here and this part over here, and this part, and you're trying to get those all here. And for you, the way to do that is kind of take one thing at a time, handle this, and then go on to the next and handle that.
Oh, I learned that here. It's taking patience. At the beginning, I just open my arms and I want to embrace everything and get it all done and all resolved. And then I realized that, it was just a defensive reaction for me. Like, no, new place. And now it's like the only way to handle things is just to be part of. It's like the sensation that I had before, I can put it this way. I felt that there was a movie and I was trying to direct all the roles that I was playing from the outside. Now I am in the movie. So instead of trying to think so much, I'm trying just to experience that and relax more. And
it's like a permission that you can give to yourself.
Yeah.
You hold on to that thought and save that. We may come back to that, Maria. I'm noticing that you're getting ready for something here. Yeah.
I was just identifying with her because I felt a lot of pressure from my family to get married because I was the oldest female and everyone else was younger, but they were getting married and having children. And I think my boyfriend felt that, and so we became engaged. And then I came right back to school to get my master's, and I realized that it wasn't working. And we have called it off and decided to kind of just do our own things for a while because I realized that wasn't as important to me as my education, because that's the track that I wanted. And my family's not really happy with that, but I am. And it took a long time for me to realize that my happiness is better than their happiness of what they want me to be.
A lot of feeling with that. I'm thinking, your family is not happy because you're going back to school, and your family is not happy because they don't like that. Maybe we could...
But, I mean, she's doing what she wants to do, and that's what's important. I mean, my parents, they might not think he's the best, but you know what? It's not their life. And, to me, it's a decision that they're making. I mean, I've developed, I can feel it, this wall just building up against them because, it's my decision. And if they don't have a problem with it, if they have a problem with it, then, it's something that they're going to have to work out on their own.
Have you addressed that with them?
Unfortunately, my mom came up to me a couple of months ago. We were sitting at home, we were watching television, and she basically told me how she felt about him. So I don't really address it. It's not worth it to me because I know they'll come around.
I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to do my own thing, and in time they'll come around. In the meantime, you've got all those feelings that are going on inside you, and they feel like bricks on your shoulders, and you're tired.
Right. That's why I do a lot.
You do a lot.
meaning like I'm not at home. I keep myself very active. I'm very busy getting involved in different things. And you know, like she was saying that her school's, that's what's important. That's her first priority. You know, and school's my first priority, but I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not, just because my parents, though, this doesn't make sense, but even though my parents, you know, they're not crazy about him, that's not, you know, my life is my priority, I guess is what I'm saying, by going to school, by getting married, by choosing my career. And that my priorities are what are important, and those are my decisions, just as your priorities are what you're gonna decide to do. Because it's our lives. We wanna live our life how we want them, not how our parents want us to.
I hear you. You're very articulate. Do you believe that? Yeah, I think you do. I wonder if you'd be willing to have a conversation with your mother about how you're feeling about this whole situation. I'm not talking about going home and talking to her. I'm talking about doing it right here.
Well, actually, we had gotten in an argument. Quick story, real quick. We had gotten in an argument about just plans with the wedding, and I did approach her in the wrong way, and she was right. I had approached her. So, as I told the story earlier about this morning, my mom was very upset that my fiance had to stay at our house. That my parents don't believe in that, and I knew she was upset about it. And even though she said it was okay, which was to me very hypocritical to be upset but okay it. But anyhow, and I calmly went up to her this morning, and you know, I knew she was angry because she's hitting everything, you know, putting the coffee down really hard and slamming drawers, and you know, I mean, it doesn't take a genius. Yeah. So she went into her room, and I shut the door because, you know, it wasn't his business. And I said, you know, Mom, I know you're upset about something. What is it? Because she said, don't attack me. So I didn't, and I said that to her.
Okay.
And she blames it on something else. Are you sure, Mom? No. Well, your father and I don't believe in that. And then here she goes and she tells me.
Mm-hmm. You know what? It sounds to me, the way you're describing that, you were in there taking care of her. Can you tell someone about your own feelings without being attacking or without them feeling like that you're damaging them? Can you just talk about your own feelings?
Like go in there and say to her, I felt hurt?
No. Let's do it right here. Because she's not here this morning, I promise you.
Okay.
She's not here.
She's not hiding?
She's here to talk to me.
Okay. Thanks.
I would like for you to talk to your mother just about the bricks that are on your shoulders.
Okay. I understand that you're paying for the wedding, and I appreciate that, but I feel very stressed out that you're doing this, that you're making all these decisions, and I feel like you're not including me even though you say that you are. And it's causing bricks on my shoulders.
And don't smile when you talk about the bricks, because when you told me about them, you said they were heavy and they made you tired. Just tell her how it feels.
Feels stressful, that it feels like every day you're doing something that upsets me and you put another brick on there and I feel more weighted down, that I'm doing so much with school and my internship and you're just keeping more bricks and they're not necessary, that, you know, we have such a good relationship that I feel that, you know, every time something goes on between us, there's another brick added, because I feel like you're putting more pressure on me, not in the sense that I have to do good, but that your feelings about Todd and your decisions about the wedding.
Great. What I really want and need from you now, Mother, is
your support. I need your support, and I need you to be there for me, and I need you to understand me, the way that we do things now as a family.
Perfect. It wasn't so hard, was it?
No, a little bit.
A little bit.
All right, what'd you think? That was pretty good, wasn't it? So that kind of shows what, you know, the good leader, him being able to confront and challenge but provide empathy and provide these skills and help her to reflect back, here's how you can talk to your mother. I mean, there was just so much in it. And then modeling that for all the other people and the other people encouraging. And what a great video of what a group would look like. So, any thoughts?
I feel like you could kind of tell that he was starting to get less involved for a little bit as like the group members started like giving feedback. So that was neat to see.
That's perfect, Macy. So, looking at him knowing when to pull back, when to come in, when
Yeah.
to interject, and it was being productive, so he was letting that go. Oh, so that's a great point. Good job.
I don't know how you categorized it, but there was a point, one of the ladies had finished making a statement and someone else was about to interrupt, but he stopped her
Yeah,
to draw out a point that he had heard, and I thought that was really good. And then he invited her back in.
I love that. That's a great point. So directing and and I thought so. Oh, she's making a great point. And then after she did, yeah, inviting the other person in, so it didn't interrupt that flow. Yeah, it's all about feeling, isn't it? Right? Knowing, and feeling that things are going well, and I don't want anything to interrupt that. It's got that good flow going. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, he was, oh, go ahead, Joyce. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Yeah, he showed a lot of empathy.
Yes.
And also positive redirection and reinforcement. And I think that made them more comfortable to lean in to some of the things that they wanted. And I saw a lot of the active listening that we all learned about.
Yes.
And I think that made him, you know, that was part of his trait to be able to really reach into folks.
Oh, very good observation. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Joyce. That's perfect. Yeah, Jennifer.
Okay, so you mentioned his positivity, Joyce, and I'm kind of I was noticing that too, that he was really kind of bubbly
Yeah.
almost in his mannerisms, like almost chuckling a little bit and really just friendly with the group.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good observation too. So he's doing all of those things that we talked about a leader should be: genuine, upbeat, encouraging, all of those things. Very good. Felicia, did you have?
I did. When I loved when the young lady had her doing the role play, like how would you
Yes.
say that to your mom? And in the moment, he told her, "Now don't laugh when you say that," because
Yes, that was so good.
I really like that because it can deflect from where you're really feeling when you
Yeah.
giggle or smile about something that could be really heavy for you. So I love that.
I like that too. So he's like going, hey, when you were telling me about this earlier, there was no laughing. You were talking about all these bricks on your shoulders and all that. So you can't be doing that, with your mother. And so really what he's kind of looking at is there some fear with your mother? So, that laughing may be a way to deflect and so on. So yeah, so he's really saying kind of what is that, but also you can't be doing that during that time. So a little bit of challenging and a little bit of challenging her to step up, but also not deflect. I like that. That's good. Any other thoughts? Man, you guys are picking out some good stuff on that video. You guys, I can't wait till your group starts. You guys are gonna do a great job. Yeah. So we'll be starting that next week. We'll have two people come in. Like I said, one is a student from Mid-American Nazarene. They'll introduce themselves, and another one is a counselor at Abundant Life. that is that went to Calvary's too through this program. So she did this exact thing in group. So okay. So we'll get together next week. I will get you more information on that number 4 thing, so when you get ready to start your group proposal and all that. I think I've got a document out there under files that helps do that. I think it's out there, and I'll make sure, and I'll point it out if I do. I know I've got that document somewhere, but I think it's in files already. So, all right. Any other questions or anything? You guys are doing awesome. Such a good group. Okay. Well, let me pray real quick and we'll get going with our week. And I sure appreciate y'all. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you so much. Thank you for that video, Lord, that we observed. And Lord, I just thank you for the hearts of the individuals here that they pick out those things and that they can apply those to their own counseling, Lord. And it's just so awesome to see people change through these classes. And we just love you for that opportunity. Lord, I just pray for this class and each individual and in this class, we have families, we have work, we have school, we have so much going on and during this time. And I just pray that you just guide and protect each and every one of these students, Lord, through this time, through whatever happens, Lord, that we know that you're there, that we can feel your presence, and we just know you're present through anything that's happening. And you've got us here for a reason. And we just thank you for that. Lord, I just pray that you just bless this week, bless our week, and just keep us safe to come back next week as we learn more about group counseling, but more importantly, how we use these skills to build your kingdom, Lord. And we just thank you for every opportunity you do place in front of us. We just love you and thank you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, y'all. Thank you.